Turn around. Look at what you see. Inner face, the mirror of your dreams. Make believe I'm everywhere. Given in the light, written on the pages, is the answer to a never-ending story. Hello. Welcome to Minority Opinions podcast. I am the Dusty Bun of this podcast, Hito, and
I guess I am, what's her name? Susie Poo? And just like Susie Poo in Stranger Things, I was gone for about a week because I had to take a little journey to Mexico and visit my village and my people and learn the culture of my people, you know?
yeah, which is why we couldn't upload an episode last week, so we're doing it this week. And today we're going to be talking about, we're going to do spoiler discussion of Stranger Things Season 3 and Toy Story 4. And between those two, Ricardo is going to talk about one of the best films of the year called The Farewell.
All right, should we just dive in right into Stranger Things?
Yeah, let's do that. So,
All right.
oh, actually, before we get into the spoiler bit, would you care to share how you feel about this season without spoiling anything in like a couple sentences?
I would say I got exactly what I expected, but with more style this season.
Okay.
Yeah, because without spoiler talk, you know, I'm all about Stranger Things. Like I thought the first season was like terrific. Like I watched it before it got kind of big, so like, you know, I'm that guy. Puts on my hipster glasses. I watched it before it got famous. But I thought the first season was like super, you know, interesting because it was like an 80s nostalgia. It was kind of like not satiring itself, but more like an homage to it. And I thought, oh, this is a fun adventure. But then season 2 came out, and I thought it was something very empty. Like I don't know. I didn't think season 2 was as extravagant as the first season, right?
I mean, I like season 2, so, but I understand.
But then season 3 comes out, and I don't know who decided to do it, but they decided to put more style and more pleasing visuals into the season.
Yes.
Like the use of the colors, the 80s neon lights.
Yes.
The Starcourt Mall is usually where all the coloring comes out. So, and it was definitely more style. Of all the seasons, this was the one that had the most style and like flair to it.
Yeah. All right. So, let's get into spoiler-tastic discussion. This is your final warning. So we're going to get into spoilers in 3, 2, 1. Let's talk about Alexei.
Alexei! No, my God.
Everybody's favorite character from this season.
I legit wanted to cry when he died.
Yeah, they did a really great job with that character.
Here's the thing, this season, I had more emotional involvement with Alexei than most of the main characters.
Yeah, I agree.
Like Alexei, anytime he was on screen, he had the most personality. Like, no, I want cherry. No, you get strawberry. And then he's just like smiling, like, oh, I'm a Russian. I thought that was like the cutest shit ever. And then when he died, I was like, no, because him and who's the guy who speaks Russian?
I don't remember.
Him, like their dynamic was so adorable together. I was like, I love this so much. But then when I would see like Lucas and his girlfriend Max together, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot they're dating.
Yeah.
And there's a lack of that wholesomeness that the first season usually offered, or Alexei and the Russian-speaking guy usually spoke. I don't know. What do you think?
I love their back and forth, and definitely Alexei was a very likable character, and they cast a very likable actor, and it was great. And when he got shot by the Terminator,
the Terminator, clearly.
Yeah, Terminator guy, I did feel sad. And the fact that the camera didn't linger. Like some shows, when they kill off characters, they make it super dramatic. But like when he got shot, it was just like, bang, he's gone, and that was it.
Yeah.
And that was so sad.
And another death, which I wasn't shocked about, one because I was spoiled about it, but
Yeah.
I still didn't feel as sad about, was when Hopper supposedly died.
Yeah, supposedly.
Because if I learned anything from Game of Thrones, is that unless you see a body, they're not dead.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure there's gonna be some alternate universe where Hopper is gonna be like Jumanji and like survive on his own for 35 years, and he's gonna come back in season 4, which they're probably gonna make like in 2 years. But this season felt strange with its characters, like the regarding the Hopper Joyce relationship story.
Yeah.
I didn't buy that. I just felt like they were trying to this entire season. It felt like everybody was trying to be forced into like a relationship or like a love story. That
Yes.
didn't need
Thank
to
you.
happen.
Exactly. One of my biggest problem with this season. Just everybody is falling in love or has a thing with other character, and it's like, can they just stay friends? I don't need to see, these characters just falling in love all the time.
The only outpoint of that outlook of that love stories I liked was when who's the kid like Will, when Will, he's trying his best to try to maintain his friendship with the guys.
Mhm.
I thought that could have been like an interesting subplot, like damn, that actually seems like really relatable that like kids could go through or like teens could go through.
Yeah.
But they show up for like a scene or two, and I thought, oh, that's it, they're not gonna really focus on that.
Yeah.
Like, of all the relationships, I felt like they should have stuck with the Eleven and Mike relationship.
I just don't like Mike in general.
Really?
I think he's a very boring character. This is nothing to do with the actor that's playing, because Finn Wolfhard is pretty cool. He's a funny dude.
Yeah.
He was funny in It Chapter 1, and I know he can
Yeah.
be great. It's just his character had nothing to do.
Yeah. I just felt like a lot of the characters, like maybe other than what's his name, Steve, I didn't really feel that much building on the characters, because like Lucas, he did the strangest product placement in the entire season. Remember the
Yeah.
new Coke scene?
Yeah.
That scene, I legit had to pause and think like, what is going on? Like, are they really just doing a porno with the Coke can right now? Like,
I
it's
don't
like
know.
it's new Coke, delicious. I'm like, what's
Yeah,
this?
it was very on the nose. I didn't like Lucas at all in this season.
I mean, he did the most in this season technically.
Yeah.
He did the fireworks.
Yes.
He shot Billy in the head. He shot. Who did he shot? He shot. Was it the monster? Yeah, it was a monster. Oh no, he chopped off the Flayer's arm. I
Mm,
think twice,
mm.
and then he shot one of the evil bad guys in the head. I forgot which one it was.
I don't know. Maybe I just don't like Lucas because of what he says to Will about Will's potential sexuality. I just hate that line, the thing that he said. Like that.
Which one? Like
Like
is it the one that's like
when
is he like-
when they were playing D&D and
Uh-huh.
everybody scatters because they're so bored, and Lucas says something to Will, something along the line of like, just because you don't like girls doesn't mean something. I don't remember, but it's hinting at the fact that Will might be gay, and I just don't
Right.
like they could have done better with that line. That line just makes Lucas look like a homophobe. And I know, the creators are smarter than that.
they could do a plot in the next season, like character study, like about Will's homosexuality, and maybe Lucas might be the one who like is not used to it, and like that's the thing he's gonna have to learn. But
Yeah.
I just felt like it was a strain. I mean, it seems unnecessary to put that in this season. Like, it seems like a throwaway line
Yeah.
that needed more building on top of it.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a throwaway line, and it's never brought up again. That's why it kind of pisses me off.
And then this is just a me thing, but they spent a lot of the first 3 episodes showing the kids kiss and like make
Yeah.
out. Like I'm not sure what's up with that.
I mean, those 3 episodes are definitely the worst in this season, and I was kind of bored. I was intrigued as to what's going on with Billy and his quote unquote killing spree, but
Yeah.
everything else was kind of blah. Just I was intrigued. I was interested in the Steve and Robin and Dustin stuff, but most of the major characters and what they were doing, I was just not interested at all.
Speaking of bored, how did you feel about the 80s nostalgia like crank churn to like 1,000 this season.
This season, I thought they did it better in the way that it was more restrained. I mean, sure, we saw like in the beginning of the season, we see Day of the Dead and people watching Back to the Future, and there's a colorful shopping mall and whatever. I was okay with it. Like the last two seasons were more like nostalgia heavy for me. Like I saw a lot of Spielberg, a lot of John Carpenter, a lot of Alien and Exorcist and Ghostbusters, and it was just a nostalgia porn basically. It's just, hey, look at this thing that you love from the 80s. That was just full of it. Whereas this one felt like it was its own thing. It felt like the only time I felt like, oh, for God's sake, was the Never-Ending Story bit. That was like nostalgia up to 1,000. That just
Never-Ending Story.
Yeah, you know when Dustin and Susie sing Never-Ending
Wait, is that an
Story.
actual song?
Yeah, you don't know?
I think if I heard the song, I would actually know. It's the ones like time after time. Is that the one?
No, the one I said in the beginning of this episode. That was the lyrics.
Oh, I didn't know it was an actual song.
It's an actual song.
Oh, that makes a lot more sense now.
Wow. So you don't know the movie either, the Never-Ending Story?
No,
Wow.
no, I didn't. No, damn. I at that point of the season when they started singing, I was like, "Yo, people are about to die right now. Can you like hurry up?"
What'd you think of the last two episodes? Because last week, not in the previous episode, I said they were the best episodes in this show. But what'd you think?
I thought they were pretty fun. I thought it was exciting, like, you know, the cars coming out and crashing, like when Billy's about to crash into them, but Steve T-bones him and saves him.
Yeah.
And at the end, they start throwing like those, was it Satan's something fireworks? What was it called?
Yeah, I don't remember, but Satan's something.
I feel like it was Satan's butthole, but that sounds like a Simpsons joke. Like,
Yeah, it might have been Satan's butthole.
I don't know, we'll call
something.
it that. And 11 like being sacrificed, and she might not have her powers anymore, so there's that.
Yeah, which is really interesting. I think her losing her power was a pretty great way to end the season, and Hopper dying and her reading his letter. That
Quote,
was
unquote.
Yeah, sure. I really hope they don't bring back Hopper. I know most people want him back, but if you kill off character, they're dead. Just stay dead. And that ending was pretty effective for me. It was
I thought it
very
was pretty
sad.
It was
Yeah.
pretty sad. Like when 11 just starts crying, I was like, oh, her was her dad. Like,
Yeah. It felt like a proper closure to me because Joyce and Will and Jonathan are moving out. And 11 is also moving out, well, going somewhere. So that felt like a real goodbye, just a great way to say bye to these characters. I know we're going to see them in like 2 years, but it just felt like a great way to end it. Just done right here. Cancel this show.
cancel the show.
They're not going to do it, but if they just end it right here, I'm perfectly fine.
Damn. So overall rating of Stranger Things season 3, out of it, 1 to 7. 1 to 7.
5? I was entertained.
I give the season a 5 too. I agree. Yet comes another review for an A24 film. Lito,
Yes.
here's my review for The Farewell, directed by Lulu Wang. It's a Chinese-American film directed by Lulu Wang, starring Awkwafina. And I think the best part about this is that it's directed, written, and produced by an Asian woman, which you never hear about those kind of directors in Hollywood, which is why already this film just gets a boop on the ranking scale because finally, originality.
Yeah.
And the story itself, it is such a wholesome, loving story that I feel like it could be a generational piece. Like it could be a film, even though it takes place in China, mainly in China, and maybe like for
Mm-hmm.
20 minutes in the United States, even though the movie's like almost like 2 hours and like 15 minutes long. It mainly takes place in China, and it talks about like Aquafina. Her grandma is diagnosed with cancer. Like they're not. I think it's like stage 3 or 4, but the grandma doesn't know about it. And I guess I didn't know this, but apparently like, in Chinese culture, even though you know a person's gonna die, you don't tell them they're dying. So the entire film is Aquafina visiting her grandma, called her Nai Nai, her visiting her family, trying to spend as much time as they can, kind of like a farewell, and then basically it's just a family drama, and you kind of learn the dark secrets behind the family and like the family dynamics and how everybody kind of like works together to keep it a secret. Like, oh, Night Night, let's go to the doctor, and the doctor speaks English. She's like, hey, she has stage 4, right? And Aquafina's just like, yeah, we know. We're not telling her. And then Night Night is just like, oh, are you talking to the doctor about your life? And she's like, oh yeah, he went to Harvard. And she's like, are you single? My daughter's single. And it's just a bunch of adorable stuff like that. Like every time Aquafina says something silly, Nina would be like, "You stupid child," like, but in a playful way. And after you watch this movie, it'll just make you want to like hug your grandma. I mean, I only have one in Mexico, but the point is, it makes you just want to hug your Nina and just be like, like
Oh.
it's such a heartwarming movie. Like I honestly think this is the best film of the year. Like this is honestly one of the best films I think A24 has released.
Did you cry?
I cried multiple times, like, but overall, I think this movie is terrific, and I think everybody, regardless whether you're Chinese or Chinese American or not Chinese, go see it. It comes out in the United States on I think it came out this weekend. Yeah.
Yeah, it's already out.
I think Aquafina is very much relatable, knowing that she is Chinese American, and I think the one thing I'm super, I what's that word? I feel represented in this film in a way because there are moments in the film where people criticize her for her Chinese, like, oh, that's how you say it, or like that's not what you say. And I thought, damn, that is. I feel like that's what a lot of American-born ethnic people go through. Like when they learn their homeland language, like Spanish is my second language. I get a lot of those moments where like, oh no, it's like this or it's like that. I'm like, damn, and like you feel kind of embarrassed.
Yeah. Did that happen? Did that happen in your Mexican trip?
Oh, definitely. I had an aunt that like criticized my Spanish, and I was like, dude, I'm trying my best, man. I don't know what that word means, and they just judge me. I'm like, Aquafina, I get you, girl. Go see it. It's a terrific movie.
Okay, so everyone, make sure that you go see The Farewell. If it's playing near you, it should be playing near you, right?
It's a wide release, so no excuses.
Yeah, no excuses. Go see it. Go support Asian American cinema.
It doesn't matter if Beyonce's in Lion King. Go see Aquafina and not Crazy Rich Asians in The Farewell.
Yeah, Beyonce doesn't need our help. Beyonce makes enough money already.
Go support.
Go see The Farewell.
Local filmmakers. All right. Now to Toy Story.
Yeah. Sure. Very awkward segue, but yes, let's get into Toy Story 4. Spoiler talk.
Spoiler
again.
talk. We're going deep into spoilers right now.
Yeah, deep into spoilers. So
where should we start?
I mean, you loved the movie, right?
I loved it. I honestly loved it. I thought, I still thought it was kind of unnecessary at first, but then after I watched the movie, I thought this doesn't hurt the franchise. I just felt like it was a good another segment of it,
Yeah. So I saw it a week ago. Yeah, a week ago.
Yeah.
And I was disappointed. Very disappointed. And I know that, everybody says they are the biggest fan of Toy Story. Like, everybody says that. But I am truly one of the biggest fans of Toy Story, this franchise. I grew up watching it. I saw Toy Story 2 in theaters. The first movie I ever saw was Toy Story on VHS. I just thought this was really unnecessary.
Okay.
I didn't need this movie. And I said this to Ricardo, and he's gonna be pissed that I'm going to say this again on this podcast.
Here we go.
But this is the kingdom of the Crystal Skull of this franchise. There, I said it. I said it.
So Hito, first question. Explain why you're wrong. Let's get into that first. Can you explain why you are wrong in today's podcast of Minority Opinions, episode 6 or 5? I lost track. Care to explain?
I'd be happy to.
Why do you
tell
hate
you
women?
all what?
Why do you hate female toys?
Oh God, where did that come from? I'd be happy to tell you why I'm so right. Because, here's the thing. The big thing that bothered me the most was the inconsistency of the messages. Because the first trilogy is about the relationship between the humans and the toys, it's about growing up both on the human side and the toys side, and accepting that, children grow up, kids grow up, and toys have to adapt to that change as well. And the end of Toy Story 3, which broke my heart into a million pieces, the message was toys, for toys, they always stick together. No matter what happens, we always stick together. Whether, when they were at the trash, what do you call it?
Landfill?
Trash places. Huh?
The landfill?
Yeah, the landfill, and they were about to be burned. They, held hands, and, they were going to die together. They're going to stick together. And then, of course, if you have seen that movie, they get, saved by the aliens, and they get donated. Well, Andy gives the toys to Bonnie, and, they have a wonderful life together, being part of Bonnie's toys now. And just them together, just the bond between the toys, the eternal bond, you could say, between the toys is the core. Those three things: growing up, relationship between humans and toys being together all the time. Those are the core message of the franchise. But the end of Toy Story 4, it basically says, well, screw you. We're going to go to a completely different direction. We're going to split Woody and Buzz and the rest of the toys. Woody goes off with Bo Peep, and Buzz stays with the rest of the toys and spend the rest of their times with Bonnie. And that just felt like, where did that come from? What have you done to this franchise? It just completely screws up everything that the past three films built up for. That's what it pisses me off. And I get that, toys grow up, and I guess toys grow more perspectives, which is a strange idea, but whatever. But I just completely, just fundamentally disagree with what Toy Story 4 says, message-wise. That's my biggest problem. Inconsistency.
I don't know if the crowd sees this, but I'm holding my pitchfork just waiting for Hito to stop talking so I could go to Japan and just, just pitchfork him through the neck. Here's the thing about that. I felt as if the movie is more in Woody's perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And they're trying to build an idea, a new idea of whether a toy can have solidarity and independence from what he's meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
So then when the toys start thinking, am I something beyond the toy? Do I have to be played with all my life?
Mm-hmm.
They decide, what if you didn't? And that's what the idea of Woody exploring the world with Bo Peep is all about.
Yeah, but that just, again, that goes against what Toy Story 3 said. Is, no matter what happens, they stick together. The thing that makes toys happy is being played with kids. That's their purpose. That's their life goals. That's, they are there for the kids to play with. That's their job. That's basically their job. And so I understand that, Woody in this movie gets left out because Bonnie is not into a male cowboy. She's more into Jesse, which is, totally understandable. And he feels alone, and I get that, but it just felt like, I don't know, it just felt like a cheat. It felt like a betrayal to me. And maybe I shouldn't compare it with the trilogy. I went to see it with my mom, and she said, and I do agree to some extent, that you got to see this as a completely different thing. You have to see it as its own thing, even though it's called Toy Story 4. It's a standalone movie about Woody. And I don't know, I guess she is right, and maybe I'm being a stubborn asshole, but I just didn't need it. I just didn't think it was necessary.
Do you remember that part in the movie? I think this is my favorite line in the movie. It was when Buzz and Woody were, it was like in the trailer, it was dark at night, and Buzz was like, do you ever just wonder what's in your head? He's like, what do you mean? He's like, what makes your thoughts? Like, what's that voice in your head? Like, where does it come from? And I was like, are they talking about God? I thought that conversation was kind of the and simplified version of what the movie's all about. Like, what if a toy had more desires in life than just wanting to be played with?
Yeah.
And that's what the character Bo Peep is supposed to represent, like with her Ray design from Force Awakens, like the staff. She wants to explore the world and be her own toy, which you could basically just say my own woman, in a sense.
Yeah, which was great. I love what they did with Bo Peep, but they didn't give me enough reason as to why Bo Peep turned into a Ray character. Like, what happened to that? What happened to Bo Peep? And they say, like, oh, I got thrown away, and, I ended up spending a few years at the antique shop, but blah, 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 blah. And I just felt like, you got to give me more, like, backstory as to what happened to this character. Mm-hmm. And I just felt like the way the movie treats Duke Kaboom and Duke Kaboom and the quote-unquote villain of the movie, the 50s, a doll from the 50s.
Susie.
The movie, was it Susie? I can't remember.
Mary or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. But the movie gives those two supporting characters enough backstory to make us care. Whereas Bo Peep, you learn nothing. You just, we get this exposition that, she got thrown away and she's now a free, individual person. Mm-hmm. But I just felt like, what is it about? What made you change? Just because at first I felt like Bo Peep was so jaded. Just, I don't like that whole toy life. I just want to be my own person.
Yeah.
And if it's a person, like if this is not a toy, I get it. If it's a human story, sure. Why the hell not? But this is a toy story. And I guess, I don't know, the simplest answer is I'm being stubborn. And I'm not trying to accept what this movie is trying to say, because it's different from the past 3 movies we're about. I don't know. I thought this movie was great on a technical level. Like, I went back to I went back to what you said,
the cat
on how the animation is done when you talked about it on a couple episodes back.
Like
it looks incredible.
The first scene the scene was like, the first scene was a great build up when RC was just like stuck in the gutter. I was like, oh my god. And then the rain looked so real. I was like, their water game, that sounds really strange, their water game has stepped up in regarding like physics and like the reflection. Like it's all just mind-blowing.
I could see every single raindrop, and that was amazing.
No, when I was gonna ask, like, did you see the cat like stretching and the little fur was just like floating through the air? Yeah. The level of just detail, they really stepped up. It compared to the original Toy Story, which the animation looks completely different. It makes it look pretty hideous now if you compare it to the first one.
Yeah, Sid doesn't look like a human.
No, it was. I remember I remember sitting in the theater when I saw Andy's face. I was like, oh, like he looks real. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm used to Toy Story 1 where like it's like they barely showed it the kid people's faces, and then when they did, it was just like it was literally just like a little billiard ball. Like, okay, mom, I'm coming. I'm like, oh, that's
yeah.
my little stupid kid brain was like, oh my god, you can't get better than this. And I see Andy in this, I'm like, god damn, that's a real child.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so on a technical level, I admire this movie. I love the animation. Of course, the way light reflected on Bo Peep's face.
Her
It's like
porcelain skin, like,
porcelain skin's like, oh my god, that looks incredible. And I give points to Pixar. Not that I have any like power or anything, but I give points to them for making this movie more diverse, like in terms of human characters. Not that we get many human characters anyway, but we
yeah.
didn't see a lot of white characters, which is great. Bonnie is not white. Her parents are not white people. And we get another kid towards the end of the movie, the one that gets lost at the fair.
Oh,
fair.
that was heartbreaking.
Yeah, that kid is not white. I can't remember. I think it was she. She was a black girl, and her parents were black. So good on you, Pixar, for making things inclusive and diverse, just reflecting the real world. Good on you. And I totally missed it, so I have to see it again. But I know there are kids at the kindergarten,
Yeah.
and some of the kids were had disabilities. I didn't catch it,
Oh.
but apparently some kids had visible disabilities, and this person was saying, "Thank you, Pixar, because I work at kindergarten and I see kids like this every day, and I'm so happy that these kids see this movie and they feel seen."
Mhm.
So good on you for all those things. I give points. I wish this
Overall.
wasn't called. Yeah, overall, yes. I just wish this movie wasn't called Toy Story. Maybe how I feel about this film might change if I watch it in English. Because
You didn't watch it in English?
no, the dubbed version is the only version available in my area, so
Oh.
I had to see it in the dubbed version. And I really want to hear what Keanu sounds like. It just, except for the Duke Kaboom, Canada's greatest stuntman. Huh, huh, huh. I saw that on the internet, so I want to see what he sounds like in other scenes. And I do want to hear Key and Peele's Bunny and Duck.
Banter.
Yeah, banter, because I'm pretty sure they are really funny.
Never watched dubbed versions of foreign films. The Crowd. Never watched those.
I'm sure if I see that ending again with Tom Hanks and Tim Allen's voices, I might cry. I'm not sure.
You better cry.
But even that goodbye, I felt like they handled it so poorly.
I will agree with you on that. That it felt a
It
bit.
just happens. It happens so quickly.
Yeah, I felt like there should have been a part where Woody acknowledges to the group like, "Hey, I want to leave. I want to go explore the world." And Buzz is like, "Yeah, you can do you, but whatever you do, I support you." And it's just like, oh, like there wasn't that cry moment when they're hugging. They're crying where it's like, "Goodbye, my good friend." I mean, when the part where it was like to infinity, and then I always have. This is just me in film, but whenever a character says one audio from like 2 miles away, and then it matches perfectly 2 miles away, like in a beyond, I was like, okay, come on, like you can't do it. That makes no sense. But it works because emotionally, when it cuts, I'm like, okay, that works. I'm a sucker for that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I felt like they needed to build more to show Woody's wanting to be a separate toy rather than just stay with the group.
Yeah. I really wish they took more time with their parting. I will say though, what they did with that villain character who turns out to be not so villainous,
Yeah.
what they did with that character, I thought was really good. Just more, it had more depth than the teddy bear from Toy Story 3.
Oh, I don't know about
or
that.
Well, I feel like both the villains in Toy Story 2 and 3 are versions of like different
same-
versions of the same character.
Yeah.
Yeah, whereas this one felt like, oh, okay, I really understand why you're doing this, and I feel for you.
Well, I guess that ends the review then for Toy Story 4.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we just lost a bunch of followers.
I mean, we might regain those followers again with next week's review with the film I'm going to talk about.
Which is
It's going to be probably both The Lion King and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Barf on The Lion King.
But Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. But you're still problematic about Tarantino, right?
Yeah, I just, once I learned about what he did to Uma Thurman, I just can't unsee it. And I will watch, I am excited for that movie. I'll definitely watch it. It's coming out at the end of August. So.
Oh wow. Okay. I think we'll talk more about it on the actual episode itself. Like maybe give a little segment about it.
When you give your thoughts on Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, we'll definitely talk about this.
We'll talk, and then Lion King, I'll probably review it like in 10 seconds, and then we'll be on our way.
Yeah.
I'll be on my way to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think you're reviewing an anime film next week, right? Or animated?
Yeah, it depends on when we're going to record, but it's going to be either the new Makoto Shinkai film or Hobbs and Shaw.
Hobbs and Shaw, no, I'm not going to spend any money on that.
I'm excited for that movie.
I know,
so.
I'm not going to lie. I legit want to see it because it looks so dumb.
Yeah, that's the only reason why I want to see it. It's a big, dumb action movie.
So I guess this wraps up the podcast for this week.
Yes, so thank you so much for listening. Please follow us on your go-to podcast supplier. I think we should be just available on like every major podcast supplier. I'm not sure if we're on Apple Podcast. Pretty sure we are, but there's no way I can check or confirm. So if any of you Apple users find this on Apple Podcast, please let us know.
Tweet it out.
Yeah, tweet it
recommend it out.
You can contact us at on Twitter at minorityopod, and you can also send us a letter at minorityopodcast@gmail.com. That's all in lowercase, no capital letters, minorityopodcast@gmail.com. And please give us 5-star reviews if you can. And
or 1 star and explain why.
Or that, yeah. If you give us good enough reason, we'll accept that.
And I think Yuhito, my favorite 99. You're my 99 technically.
And thank you to Ricardo, my favorite.
Say in Spanish.
Oh dear. Abuela.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say grandson. I thought you were gonna say grandson.
Oh, I don't know how to say grandson in Spanish.
Nieto.
What?
Nieto.
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 Yeah, my favorite nieto.
Close enough. I think our audiences too.
Yes.
We love all of you. Well, most of you.
Yeah, most of you. And
right.
we will have some exciting announcement in the coming weeks. We can't reveal it yet, but it's coming, so stay tuned.
Stay tuned. All right. Checking out from Minority Opinions Podcast. Thank you.